we are about to get underway. And Michael Doyle, the referee, puts a whistle to his lips, and Michael Doyle gives the ball back to Ben Turnip. Sends one high across towards the edge of the penalty area. It's been cleared away by Glenn Rhee. It's going to drop down towards Richard Brinley. Brinley turns and gives it to his opposite fullback, Damien Mccrory, who's moved over to the left-hand side of the back line. The ball is with Baldwin down the right-hand side, and it's with Reagan Booty this time on the left with Mitch Rose. Rose picks it up inside the centre circle already. Notts moving it quickly with Brindley on towards Baldwin. Gives it back to Ben Turnip. Gives it back to Rawlinson. Notts just happy to move the ball quickly. Lots of movement from the Notts players early doors as Ben Turner tries to dink one forward. It's headed away by Musa Diarra, and it's headed back by Mitch Rose on halfway, and it's lofted forward by the big boot of Connell Rawlinson. He's back in the lineup as well after shaking up a calf injury. And the ball is played down the line towards Jamal Loza, and he runs straight into Michael Doyle, and it's played down the line. A bit difficult to see here because we are right near the touchline, but it's very difficult to see any action down the right-hand side. Thankfully, the ball is on the left-hand side, and what a ball that is from Doyle. It's picked out Damien Mccrory. His cross was blocked at the source, and it will be a Notts throw. Level with the edge of the penalty area. A minute gone, 0-0.
Yeah, good start by Notts, good first minute. Plenty of possession, carrying on almost from Saturday, but I certainly hope the result isn't the same.
The ball is whipped in already, and it's headed over by Carl Walton at the near post. Good ball in from Damien Mccrory. Sort of beat everybody as it went towards the near post, and Carl Walton got his head on it, directed it goalwards, but in the end he just didn't have the right accuracy to beat the goalkeeper at his near post, but a big chance.
Yeah, decent chance in just after the first minute. Kyle Walton, it was a dipping ball in, wasn't it, from the left-hand side. Damien Mccrory with his left foot, pace on the ball. And Kyle Walton, maybe, you know, had that been 10 or 15 minutes further into the game, might have just fancied he'd do a little better with it, but just got underneath it. Couldn't direct his header on target, and it goes over the crossbar and away into them Woking fans behind the goal to our right. But a really good start from Notts, keeping possession well, shifting the ball from right to left, and Damien Mccrory, a good delivery and a header at goal.
And it's a header over the top by the Woking number 8, and it's with Jamal Loza heading towards goal. He spreads it wide towards Kane Ferdinand, and Ferdinand's got time to pick across here. If he gets towards the byline, tries to skip past Michael Doyle. Doyle and Damien Mccrory trying to battle away and win the ball back, but in the end the cross is poor from Kane Ferdinand. It goes out of play harmlessly for a goal kick, but that all came from a header from I think it was Mark Shelton in the end. Headed it down towards Jamal Loza. Loza headed towards the penalty area, thought about shooting with his right foot from the edge of the box. In the end he thought better of it, tried to find a cross from Kane Ferdinand. It went out harmlessly for a goal kick, but yeah, warning signs for Notts early doors style.
Yeah, certainly been a bright start, hasn't it? We had barely, not even 3 minutes on the clock yet, with both teams had an attack. Kyle Walton with his header, unable to hit the target. But then, as you say, Woking coming down the other end and immediately showing that they've got a danger as well. So if the game carries on like this, we should be in for a good game. Let's
hope so. It's Ben Turnip picking up the ball midway inside his own half, rolls it back to Connell Rawlinson, the 28-year-old, joined in the summer from Port Vale. This ball's actually been picked up by Josh Casey down the left-hand side. It's headed away well by Richard Brinley. It's going to be picked up by Enzio Boldwijn, but he's had a couple of loose touches, and that's allowed Woking to win the ball back, but Notts win it back almost immediately up towards halfway, and it's headed forward and fired forward by Mitch Rose. That's a good crossfield ball towards Brinley, and it's Mccrory who sends one in from the left-hand side, and that one goes out of play. Kind of a similar cross to what happened at the other end. It went straight out for a goal kick, but a lovely ball from Mitch Rose. A diagonal ball towards Damien Mccrory, who made that darting run down the left again, and so that seems to be a productive area for Notts.
Yeah, it is in these opening moments. Yeah, fantastic ball from Mitch Rose. Lovely spot with his right foot, 40-yard diagonal ball into the path of Damien Mccrory, who's breaking down that left-hand side. I spoke on Saturday about how Notts like to get their fullbacks in high positions up the pitch, and Damien Mccrory on that occasion with the overlap. Unfortunately, his cross on that occasion didn't match his cross of just a moment or two ago for the Kyle Walton header, and it went behind the goal. But so a real lively start in the first 5 minutes.
Yes, really lively, particularly with Mccrory down that left-hand side. Good header from Mitch Rose on halfway, heads it out for a Woking throw, which will be taken by the number 3, Jack Casey, who's signed a 2-year deal in the summer for the home side. It's a high ball over the top, and it's actually Jake Hyde who's stayed on side. No, he hasn't. The linesman's flag has gone up. It's a very late flag as Jake Hyde looked to go down that left-hand channel. And thankfully Notts can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief as Jake Hyde was ruled offside. Good little curve ball over the top in towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. Jake Hyde, who's got 7 goals already this season, 6 in his last 4, but thankfully for Notts, the linesman's flag came to save the day.
Yeah, eventually it is. It's that ridiculous rule, isn't it, nowadays, where the linesmen aren't allowed to flag immediately when the player's offside. They have to wait until he's very nearly on the ball, and in that case, Jake Hyde was in the Notts penalty area bearing down on goal. And it was only then, when the linesman's flag went up, we could all breathe the sigh of relief.
Yeah, just a bit. Here's Michael Doyle, sends one high towards Carl Walton. And Wes Thomas is having a bit of a battle there with Moussa Diarra. In the end, Doyle's ball just looped high over the top and safely into the hands of the goalkeeper, Craig Ross, who picks the ball up and sends it downfield. And it's headed away by Ben Turner. And Conor Rawlinson is lurking at the back to try and head the ball away, and now here goes Wes Thomas. Got time to run in towards the centre circle, but he's blocked by a sea of red and white bodies, and that's it's almost a dangerous header back to goal from Richard Brindley, but thankfully Sam Slocum came out quickly enough to collect it on the edge of his own penalty area. Rolls it out quickly over towards Damien Mccrory. It's in field towards Reagan Booty, finds Mccrory again down that left-hand side. Here's Doyle. Gives it to Mitch Rose inside the centre circle, on towards Enzio Baldwin. It just turns past his man. Good play from Enzio Baldwin. He looks to strike one low towards goal. Oh, brilliant! Superb from Enzio Baldwin. He's having a goal of the season competition all on his own. He worked the space from the edge of the penalty area and sent one into the top corner with his right foot. A superb finish, and Notts have the lead here at Woking. 6 minutes gone. It's Woking 0, Notts 1.
Well, just when you think you've seen it all for Notts' goal of the season competition, we have another contender. Exactly right, Jake. Enzio picks the ball up just, 10-15 yards inside the Woking half, just turns and loses his marker, and it opens up in front of him, and he doesn't hesitate in going into the space, takes it out of his feet, 2 or 3 touches, gets on his right foot, and you think he's going to drill it from 25 yards. But what he does is fantastic with his right foot. He almost uses the defender in front of him to shape it round with the instep of his right foot to bend it into the near top corner from nearly 25 yards. An absolute peach of a finish. There's no saving that. Craig Ross in the Woking goal didn't even sniff it. And before we've got 7 minutes on the clock, Notts a 1 goal to the good with another absolute worldie.
Yes, indeed. He's got 4 goals already this season as Enzio Baldwin. Make that 5 now, and there have been 5 absolute stunners as well from the Dutchman. So Notts have the lead by a goal to 0. We've played 7.5 minutes here at the Kingfield Stadium, live on BBC Radio Nottingham on all frequencies as well. You can also find us on Twitter at BBC RNS and on Instagram as well. Just search for BBC Radio Nottingham Sport. We'll be doing a Facebook Live after the game as well. Find us on the BBC Radio Nottingham Sport Facebook page. And based on the opening 7.5 minutes of this game, there'll be plenty to talk about in that as well, as Doyle picks up the ball inside the centre circle, rolls it back towards Richard Brindley, and he's giving it towards Rowlandson, and Rowlandson gives it to Mitch Rose, who sends a drilled ball in towards Michael Doyle. Doyle sends one over the top, looking for Damien Mccrory, and Mccrory just couldn't quite grab it in his stride as he just cruised down that left-hand side again. They're getting a lot of look, and he's getting a lot of space, isn't he, as Damien Mccrory down that left-hand side.
Yeah, it certainly is. Like I say, getting into them advanced positions and not moving the ball really well, really sharp. You know, carrying on from Saturday, but look like they've got more cutting edge, more urgency about them, and that's certainly that early goal will help.
We saw free kick to Notts down the right-hand side. Can't actually see it because it's right next to the dugout where Niall Ardley is waiting. It's kind of one of those weird dugouts where it sort of bends backwards and it's over the back seat. So we can't actually see either manager or assistant manager for that matter. We can't actually see the fourth official either, so we can't actually tell what Niall Ardley's doing unless he takes a couple more steps forward, which he does. Just about to see the back of his head from here in the press box. So Notts still lead by a goal to 0. 9 minutes gone here at the Kingfield Stadium. Reagan Booty to take this free kick from the right-hand side. Looks like he's going to take it left-footed. It's going to be an in-swinger. It's headed out. Oh, it's headed up in the air, and I think that may have come off a Notts man. It did. Not entirely sure who it came off. Possibly Ben Turnip coming up from the back. And in the end, it's gone out of play for a goal kick, and Woking can breathe a sigh of relief and try and get back into this game. 9.5 minutes gone. It's still 1-0 to the Magpies.
Yeah, exactly the start Notts would have wanted, though, and Niall Ardley will have been drumming into them front since Saturday. You know, like I say, they played well, they kept the ball well, but didn't really have any bite in the final third. Well, in the opening 10 minutes, we've seen plenty of that, and with Enzio getting that goal, that means Woking have really got to press and chase the game a little bit. They've not really seen much of the ball at present because Notts have kept it so well, but and so we just saw a little bit in that break in the first couple of minutes to show that they are going to pose a threat going forward. They're going to put bodies forward, so we've just got to be watchful.
Here's Josh Casey down the left-hand side, and Casey possibly pulled back Enzio Baldwin as he tried to win the ball back. In fact, it was Mitch Rose who he pulled back in the end, and Notts will have a free kick just outside their own penalty area down the right-hand side, which Rawlinson will takes it across his own penalty area. 10 minutes gone, still 1-0 to the Magpies, and now here's Ben Turnip with the ball inside his own half. Looks to send one forward, he's looking for the run, and he's sent one high over the top, looking for Carl Walton, and he actually found Carl Walton, but unfortunately I think Walton decided not to touch it, otherwise he would have been offside. Big call made by Niall Ardley to leave out his top scorer, Christian Dennis, as well. He's on the bench. He's made 3 changes, has the Magpies manager. Christian Dennis is one of them, and Wes Thomas came in from as well. That's a good ball as well, looking for Wes Thomas, as we're looking to bear down on goal, but it's well cut out in the end by Ben Gehring, the 28-year-old working defender. Stuck a big left leg out, managed to stop it from going to the experienced Wes Thomas, coming in tonight for his 15th league appearance. Scored a couple of goals as well. Plenty of goals coming in from all kinds of positions for Notts County. I think we've got something like 12 different goal scorers this season already, and it's Christian Dennis leading the way. I think Enzio Baldwin's just fired himself into second with that superb finish from 20 yards or so with his right foot, and it just looked like the way he hit it, Stal, it looked like he just sort of, you kind of expect people just to put their laces for it from there, but Enzio just sort of put almost with the side of his foot, the instep of his foot, just bent it around the goalkeeper and into that top corner. Yeah,
I mean, we've seen him do that when he's cutting in from the left-hand side and looked to find the far post, but this was in the centre of the pitch, and he just almost used the defender in front of him as a bit of a guide and just bent it round him. As you say, you see plenty of players just slash through the ball, but he didn't on that occasion. A cultured finish, wonderful, wonderful goal.
Probably puts those in the top corner every single day in training, but he's done it here tonight at the Kingfield Stadium. Was working over a free kick, headed away by Ben Turnip. And Carl Walton will give chase, but it's with Jamar Lozep down the left-hand side, and he just runs into the back of Michael Doyle. It's picked up by Walton. Good touch to elude his man, and another good touch outside his own penalty area. It gives it back to the experienced Michael Doyle. Back to Sam Slocum. Slocum's kick wasn't the best, and he's only found Kane Ferdinand. But Kane Ferdinand has been penalised, I think. Not entirely sure what for.
I think he's given handball, hasn't he, there? It was a bit of a scruffy kick from Sam Slocum. I didn't get very high, but it zipped off this turf, and I think he's judged Kane Ferdinand to maybe just have used an arm in controlling the ball, but a little bit of a let-off for Notts there because they were just coming under a little bit of pressure.
Just a bit. 12.5 minutes gone. It's still Notts who have the lead here at the Kingfield Stadium. And I'll give you a couple of updates on the National League very shortly once Ben Turner sends this ball forward, which he does. It's a high ball, route one, looking for Carl Walton, and Walton's managed to get it on the back of his head, and he's headed it back down towards, I think it's Wes Thomas who's sitting a little bit further back, and it's with Mitch Rose inside the working half. Gets it back from Richard Brindley, gives it back to Michael Doyle, just about 10 yards inside from the centre circle. Ball is flicked on towards Reagan Booty, but it actually went out of play for a goal kick. And it's it seems to be finding a lot of space down that left-hand side again. I know I keep mentioning it, but Damien Mccrory is making those runs, and Michael Doyle and Mitch Rose are both finding them with superb deliveries as well.
Yeah, they have. There's been a couple of decent balls from the middle out to that left-hand side. And I think part of the reason is that with Reagan Booty in the side, I've spoken about this before, when he plays, he's not a natural wide man, so he plays more narrow to give you an extra extra body in the middle of the middle of the midfield, and that allows the left-back, Damien Mccrory as it is today, to bomb on and play further up the pitch, and Reagan Booty almost takes the eyes of the right-sided Woking player inside and allows the space for Mccrory to go on the overlap on the outside, and Notts have utilised it really well in this opening 20 minutes.
Josh Casey with the throw, sends it down. It's with Jake Hyde, and Hyde goes down into the penalty area, and the referee decides not to give anything, but he's going to fire he's going to play an advantage, and Woking nearly took that advantage, courtesy of Jamar Loza. Managed to get himself in space down the left-hand channel and fired one across goal with his left foot. A bit of a let-off there for Notts.
It was, yeah, first real effort on goal from Woking, and it came from two Notts players just leaving the ball to each other. Neither, I didn't really see, I think it was Connell Rawlinson, and it might have been Mitch Rose just after you, Claude, and Loza nipped in from the inside left channel, and it was a cross shot really, wasn't it, across the face of goal. Never going to nestle in that far corner, but it was only just a couple of yards wide of that far post. But a bit of an early warning for Notts that Woking aren't going to lie down. They have got a threat on the attack.
Yes, and it was, well, it looks like a speedy player as Jamal Loza, the Jamaican. He's caused a few problems in the Notts back line in the opening 15 minutes or so. And it's 15 minutes gone here at the Kingfield Stadium. It's still Woking 0, Notts County 1. Here goes Damien Mccrory, but he's almost lost the ball. Michael Doyle comes down to help him out, hits it against a Woking man, and that one will go out of play for a throw. Right on halfway down the left-hand side. I said I'd give you the scores, but to be honest, there's not many scores happening in the National League other than here, where Notts, of course, lead by a goal to nil. The only other goal is Ebbsfleet over in Chorley. So, yeah, other than that, it's 0-0 in every other game as well. So, goals not quite flying in all over the country, but one certainly flew in here in the 6th minute. Enzio Baldwin smashing in his 5th goal of the season. And some style as well. It was a great finish from the Dutchman. Definitely one to watch back on the highlights. And so, Woking have a free kick about 10 yards inside their own half. It's going to be Jack Cook to take it. One of a couple of changes made by the Woking manager. Jack Cook puts his arm up in the air, sends one forward. It's a diagonal ball towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's headed on by Diarra. It's into a good area as well, good header away from Rawlinson. And Reagan Booty got back as well to clear it away, and now Notts can break with Wes Thomas down the line on towards Enzio Baldwin. And Baldwin's gone down that right hand side. He's up against, oh, it's a good ball as well over towards the far post, and it's headed over by Kyle Walton. And it was Enzio Baldwin who got the better of Josh Casey, beat him for pace down the right hand side, and the ball was fired across, and the goalkeeper completely missed it, and Kyle Walton was there at the far post as you'd expect him to be, and he couldn't quite control his header.
Yeah, it's good break, fast break down the right-hand side. Wes Thomas having the overlap of Enzio down that right-hand side, and Enzio with that goal, bit of wind in his sails, beats the fullback, gets to the byline, stands up a lovely ball to the back post. I'm not sure whether Craig Ross maybe just got fingertips on it, which might just explain why Kyle Wootton couldn't control his header, and it just looped over the bar. He was stretching Kyle Wootton, but like I say, I think the keeper maybe either got a touch or did enough to put him off anyway, but really good play down the right-hand side from Notts.
Rowlandson rolls it back to his goalkeeper, Sam Slocum, who just boots it downfield, down the right-hand side, headed away there by Josh Casey. And the ball comes off a Notts man. It's come off Richard Brinley, and it will be a working throw, which Casey will take on towards Jake Hyde, and Hyde gives it back towards Casey again, looking to thread one through towards Jamal Loza, but it was the right idea from Casey, looking to thread the ball through down the left-hand channel, trying to split the, I think it was Ben Turnip and Connell Rawlinson, but in the end it had too much on it and it rolled out harmlessly for a goal kick. But again, Woking are going to try and use that pace and that threat from Jamal Loza, and hopefully, well, thankfully for Notts, it had a bit too much on it from Casey, and it goes out of play for a Notts goal kick.
Yeah, just too heavy on the ball, wasn't he? But he looks lively, doesn't he, Loza, down this left-hand side. Almost playing a sort of a left-hand side withdrawn striker, if you like. They're playing almost a 4-2-3-1 formation.
And Connell Rawlinson has had to shuffle the ball back to the goalkeepers under a bit of pressure from Jake Hyde down in the edge of the penalty area, but thankfully it had enough on it for Sam Slocum to clear downfield. The ball is going to be picked up by Michael Doyle. Left-hand side goes in field towards Reagan Booty. Booty back towards Mccrory, on towards Rawlinson inside the centre circle. It's a heavy ball towards Richard Brindley, and Brindley does well to elude past his man and give it back towards Rawlinson. Notts just happy to keep the ball inside their own half for the time being, with Doyle inside to Mitch Rose inside the centre circle, gives it back to big Ben Turnip, all 6'4" of him, standing there at the in the centre-back berth, and it's threaded through. That's a good ball as well towards Walton. Walton throwing goal, sends one, and it's deflected into the back of the net. And it's Kyle Walton's goal, but I think maybe Wes Thomas had got a touch. Not entirely sure who they'll give the goal to, but Kyle Walton sent it towards the far post. Wes Thomas, I think, got a touch to bundle over the line, and Notts have doubled their lead here. 19 minutes gone at the Kingfield Stadium. It's Woking 0, Notts County 2. What a response for Neil Ardley's side.
Yeah, fantastic. It's been a fantastic opening 20 minutes. They've looked dangerous at every opportunity, haven't they? Not when they go forward, and that time down the inside left channel, you're right, it was Kyle Wootton got slid in. I think was it Michael Doyle who slid in the ball? I can't remember, but he cut in on the inside left. I think keeper got hands on his initial shot, and I think it will be credited to Wes Thomas. We're a fair bit away from the end where he put it in, but it looked like Wes Thomas maybe just coming in, following up at the back post, just got the final touch over the line. It doesn't matter to us anyway, I'm sure it will, they'll argue about it later, but I think it'll go down to Wes Thomas. But Notts are 2 up, and that is the main thing, but it's been a fantastic 20 minutes from Notts in terms of, we saw on Saturday that, you know, they didn't have too much cutting edge. Well, tonight, for 20 minutes, they've looked absolutely electric.
They really have, and that goal came from the left-hand side as well, that productive left-hand side where we've seen Reagan Booty and Damien Mccrory, but this time it was Kyle Walton who turned provider this time, and it was, I think it will be Wes Thomas who will be credited to the goal. If it is, that's his 4th goal of the season. He couldn't really miss, to be honest. It was right in front of the, just inside the 6-yard area. And it's played down the right-hand side this time with Brindley, but it's going to be marshalled out by Josh Casey and out of play for a goal kick. And Niall Ardley talked about wanting a response, wanting more threats from the Chesterfield game. Obviously, it was lots of possession in that game, and they just didn't have that final product, whereas obviously tonight a very different story with Notts having plenty of possession, and they've got the goals to show for it as well. 20 minutes gone, it's now Woking 0, Notts County 2.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we talk a lot about when you're on top, go and get your goal, go and put a team to a sword. Well, they've got the goal early with Enzio, but they haven't sat on it, and what they've done is continue to go forward. They obviously got the bit between the teeth, they fancy it tonight, and they look dangerous at every time they go forward. They've doubled the lead, obviously, with what we're going to call Wes Thomas's goal. But they've had numerous chances as well alongside that. They look dangerous going forward, and they're doing exactly the right thing in continuing to do that.
Here goes Michael Doyle inside his own half, lets it run for Reagan Booty. Booty back towards Mitch Rose, who sends it to Baldwin. Playing a bit more central this time is the Enzio Baldwin down the inside the centre circle, but he's drifted over down to the right-hand side now as Mitch Rose tries to come away with the ball. Enzio Baldwin on defensive duty this time, looking to turn, but he's lost out to Josh Casey. Casey in the middle of midfield, he's given it towards Jamal Lozo, and that's a foul, definite foul from Wes Thomas on Jamal Lozo, sort of tracking back, and as he tracked back, he just sort of barged into Jamal Lozo, and that'll be a free kick to Woking. Yeah, I kind of think that'll be a free kick style.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked it, didn't it? And it's certainly when the home team are 2 down, it's the sort of free kick they get 99 times out of 100, and it's just about shooting distance, isn't it? About, what would you say, about 30, 35 yards out in the middle, halfway through Notts half.
Yeah, it's dead central as well, and Mark Shelton, the Salford City loanee, looks to take it, although Josh Casey on his left foot fancies this one as well. It's about 30 yards out or so. We've played 22 minutes. Notts have a 2-0 lead here at the Kingfield Stadium, but Woking have got a good opportunity to get a goal back to try and turn their fortunes around this evening. So the referee's making sure the wall is in place, and it will be Mark Shelton to send one, and he's struck it, deflected, and it's safely into the hands of Sam Slocum. I think the wall just did its job and took the sting out of it a little bit there.
Yeah, I think it was a fair old distance out, fully 30, if not 32, 33 yards out. And as you say, it might have just took a nick off the side of the wall as it went past it low. It bounced just before it got into Sam Slocum, but straight at him, one that the Notts goalkeeper got his body behind. No real problems at all, and a speculative effort, you would say, but maybe that's a case of the frustration that Woking are feeling, the fact that they've been pinned back, they've not seen much of the ball, they're 2 goals behind already, that, well, from 30, 35 yards, they're going to try their luck.
Yeah, so Notts County lead by 2-0 here at the Kingfield Stadium on an emotional night for the Magpies. If you weren't listening earlier, sadly we had to announce that the former chairman, Jack Dunnett, passed away at the age of 97. He was in charge of the Magpies, or in chairman charge as it were, for 20 years between 1967 and 1987. He was the man who brought in Jimmy Civil, and no doubt watching down on tonight's game, and he'll be very pleased with what he's seen. Notts leading by 2-0 here at the Kingfield Stadium, live on BBC Radio Nottingham Sport and on all frequencies as well. Quick reminder as well that we will be on Facebook Live at the end of the game to discuss what's been a very eventful 23-24 minutes here. A couple of good goals as well for Notts County, which will certainly please manager Niall Ardley, who was calling for a response, and he's certainly got one. And now here goes Mitch Rose, looking to send one forward towards Enzio Baldwin inside his own half, looking to go down the right-hand side. Can't find an avenue though, so he gives it back to Rawlinson, back in the side after shaking off a calf injury, and it's just sent forward by Sam Slocum. Sends it forward, and it's headed away by Ben Gehring, or Gehring, should I say? No, it's a Gehrig. It's down the right-hand side with Dave Tarpey. He's not seen too much of the ball as the working number 7, but he's managed to skip past his man there, and he's up against Damien Mccrory. He wants to go past him as well, but Mccrory just sticks a big leg out, blocks the run down the right-hand side, and Mccrory just happy to let that one go out for a throw, and Notts can regroup at the back and try and defend this set piece.
Yeah, they've got a long throw, haven't they? And every time they get a set piece, they put the 2 big centre halves up, and they are proper what you would call non-league centre halves, aren't they? Diarra and Gehring. They must be 6'3", 6'4" at least, and they're going to be an aerial threat.
Throw comes in from the right-hand side. It's looped up in the air, but it's the aerial threat of Notts that clears it away. Big Ben Turner knocking it away, and it's cleared up towards halfway, where it's going to be picked up by Josh Casey. Josh Casey sends one down the left-hand side, but it's headed away by Richard Brindley. And hopefully Michael Doyle will keep it in. He just about does. No, he doesn't. Linesman's flag goes up, and that'll be a throw into to Woking. Midway inside the Notts half. Yeah, down this left-hand side, which Josh Casey will take, the 28-year-old, making his 21st appearance of the season in all competitions. Forgot to mention as well that Woking are out of the FA Cup. As for Notts, they're in the well, they're certainly in the first round. And now here goes Brinley, and it's Walton who picks up the ball, but it's Mitch Rose who gives it back to Ben Turner midway inside his own half. Ben Turner looking to shimmy the ball away from Jake Hyde. It sends one down the left-hand side, but it's easily cushioned away by Ben Gehring, and it's sent downfield by Jack Cook. And it's Richard. Well, no, it's not Richard Brindley. It's Damien Mccrory who's decided to send that one out for a throw, which Woking will take. Woking slowly just getting back into this game, even though they're 2-0 down. They're certainly working the ball a little bit better, trying to get the ball up towards the dangerous front man that is Jamal Loza. In fact, Woking are playing with a very attacking 4-3-3 with Tarpey and Loza as wide men, and Jake Hyde, the top scorer, looking to go through the middle. Here's Mark Shelton looking to send one through, and he was looking for the top scorer, Jake Hyde, but that's a poor ball forward over Jake Hyde, over Rawlinson as well, and back with the goalkeeper, Sam Slocum, and Notts will just take those all day long. Yeah, absolutely. Just holding a good line as well. Notts, the back four, just stepping up as the ball went out away from their goal, just stepping up a couple of yards, and meaning that Jake Hyde, who was trying to make his run and stay on side, was a yard off. When the ball came through, he didn't even make an effort to go towards. He knew he would have been flagged offside, and the ball's allowed to go through to Sam Slocum, and Notts can just regroup, get the shape, and get up the pitch. Turner sends one forward, looking for Carl Walton, but he won't find him there. It's cleared away over towards the left-back berth, where Ben Turner again picks it up, and it sort of hammers it against Damon Mccrory, and it goes off the Irishman and out of play for a working throw down the right-hand side, about 10 yards inside Notts half, and Notts gathering everybody back. Conor Rawlinson first to the ball this time, sends one back towards Mccrory, and Mccrory just sends one down the centre circle. It's headed up in the air by Glenn Rhee. The Luton loanee decides to send one down the right-hand side. It's a good ball forward through towards Carl Walton though, and it's threaded through down the left-hand side. Walton will try and get there, but it's got a bit too much on it, and Ben Gehring, who had about a 15-yard head start, gets there first, rolls it back to his goalkeeper, and Woking will just send it forward, and it's another rash challenge again from well, it was Mitch Rose this time, who clattered into Kane Ferdinand right on the centre circle, and Woking will have another free kick aimed in the Notts direction. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the more obvious free kicks you're ever going to concede, but still Mitch Rose raises his hands and in exasperation at the referees. Can't believe that he's given it, but it was a blatant body check, and just gives Woking a chance to send the big men forward again. 28 gone, still 2-0 to the Magpies, but Woking have a free kick which is going to be taken by the captain Josh Casey, and it's sent one in towards the penalty area, headed away by Ben Turner. He wasn't gambling there, was Ben Turner, had to do something about it, and he did, and now Notts can break through the middle, going down the left-hand side, and it's with the right-hand side rather, with Enzio Baldwin, runs into his man, he's sent to the floor, but Richard Brindley tried to play the advantage, but in the end the referee decides to pull it back for a Notts free kick, and Enzio Baldwin trying to use his pace down that right-hand side, the favoured right-hand side of Enzio Baldwin. In the end it was just clattered by Moussa Diarra. Both of them just clattered to the floor, and in the end Notts will have a free kick and an opportunity to put the ball in Woking territory. Yeah, exactly, and you know, have to give conceding the free kick. It was good composed play from Mitch Rose inside his own penalty area, just to set Notts free on that counter-attack, and eventually, as you say, worked its way out to Enzio on this right-hand side, drew the foul, wins the free kick, and Notts in possession, back in the Woking half. Here's Ben Turner inside his own half, just outside the centre circle, rolls it across to Rawlinson, sends one high over towards the edge of the Woking penalty area, cleared away though, only as far as Jamal Loza, and Loza looking to twist and turn, and Loza comes away with the ball, but Brinley steps in his path and gives it in field to Doyle, just inside the centre circle in working half. That's to spread it down the left-hand side over towards Damien Mccrory. Sends it back to Michael Doyle. Doyle just has to go back to Ben Turner. Knott's just happy to keep the ball and try and make Woking work for it inside their own half. It's back with goalkeeper Sam Slocum, coming up to the half hour here. Very fast half hour as well it's been, with 2 Notts goals. One of them was absolutely superb, and the other one, well, Wes Thomas couldn't really miss. Enzio was a superb finish after a good little run forward as well. Picked up the ball about 25 yards, jogged forward and just unleashed a superb right-footed effort into the top corner. Goalkeeper had no chance. That gave Notts a lead in the 6th minute. And then Wes Thomas bundling home a Carl Wotan effort from about 5 or 6 yards to double Notts' lead 11 minutes or so ago. And Notts have been good for their lead as well. Certainly working the ball in the spaces down either flank, preferably the left-hand side as well, where Damien Mccrory's looked dangerous, as has Reagan Booty. The ball is with Kane Ferdinand, looking to go down the working right with Tarpey. Tarpey sends one and it's on towards Jake Hyde, but headed away by Rawlinson. It's headed back forward and it's a late challenge there, and it's going to be headed away by Richard Brindley, and it was a late challenge from Mitch Rose. I think it was on Rhee, and Woking will have another free kick.
Yeah, just a little bit clumsy, wasn't it? Late challenge to the ball in the air. Rhee just gets there first, wins the header. I think it's Enzio, isn't it, who just a little bit late on him. Not Enzio's forte, winning headed balls 25 yards from his own goal, and he's conceded a free kick there, a little bit clumsy. And this one's, what, 3 or 4 yards closer than the effort they had 2 or 3 minutes ago. So this is certainly a shooting opportunity for Woking.
Certainly is, and they've got Dave Tarpey standing over it as well, the Woking number 7. Joined from Maidenhead on a 1-month loan. He's already got 4 goals to his name this season. Can he make it 5? It is a good free kick, and it's tipped over by Sam Slocum. It was sort of sent around the wall in towards the centre of the goal, and Sam Slocum just got a big glove on it and just sent it up in the air and out for a corner, a Woking corner, and it's actually their first corner of the game for the home side. But in the end, it was a good save, and he decided not to take any chances, did the Notts keeper. Yeah, that's it. It was down the middle of the goal, as you're right, over the wall, not quite in the corner, and it was a fairly comfortable hand to tip it over the bar from Sam Slocum, taking no risks. A big opportunity for Woking to send the corner in towards the far post, and it's headed over the top by Jake Hyde at the far post, and he had Damien Mccrory marking him as well. I think Mccrory did enough just to put him off as Hyde looked to try and head one in at the far post. It was a good ball. It was an in-swinger towards the far post, and Jake Hyde got everything behind it, and in the end he got a bit too much behind it and headed it over the top. Good pressure though from Damien Mccrory, and it stays 2-0 to Notts County, 32 minutes gone. Yeah, I mean that's just the first real scare for Notts. You know, the ball came in with pace from their right-hand side, the corner, an in-swinger, and Sam Slocum just got taken out of it a little bit. And as the ball went to the back post, Jake Hyde couldn't get over his header, could he? Just looped it over the bar. His reaction sort of told you his frustration, and he felt he maybe could have done better. Maybe so. He's already got 7 goals to his name already this season. It's Jake Hyde, very powerful forward. 6 in his last 4 as well. Got 15 goals last season for Woking too. The ball is back with Musa Diarra. Rolls it across to his centre-back partner, Ben Gehring. And Gehring looks to send one over the top down the left-hand side, but it's well watched and well cleared by Richard Brindley. Out of play for a throw. Taken quickly towards Mark Shelton inside the centre circle. Another late challenge. This time it's Wes Thomas on Shelton, I think it was. And he rolls down on the floor in a heap. He's slowly getting to his feet, but Wes Thomas, the referee's marching over to him saying, you don't get too many more of those, Wes. No, I think you marked that in the file saying striker's tackle. He's very lucky to not get a yellow card for that. I don't know whether he just lost his footing a little bit, Wes Thomas. Maybe he just slipped on this surface as he went in, but he was certainly late and can consider himself a little bit lucky just to get a talking to. 33 minutes gone, still Woking 0, Notts County 2. Neil Arley steps away from his dugout and barks orders while Notts defend this set piece. It's sent in towards the penalty area. It's going to be punched away by Sam Slocum, and it's not quite cleared away. Shouts for handball, not giving it, struck towards goal. It's blocked by the Notts captain Michael Doyle as he lays down on the floor, and I think the referee's going to give Woking a free kick here in a similar position from where they nearly scored from, Stal. Yeah, well, let's hope it's not third time lucky. I mean, I think he's given that for handball against Michael Doyle, who's gone up. The ball, the free kick's come in initially. Sam Slocum's come 15, 16 yards, very nearly to the edge of his penalty area, punched the ball, but it's gone up rather than out. And as it's dropping, Michael Doyle's gone up to try and win the header.
and it's one of them where he's not really headed it, and it's caught him on the shoulder or the top of the arm. The ref's deemed it to be handball, and Woking have got a free kick, and this is the closest of the three, probably 24, 25 yards away from Notts' goal, smack bang in the middle.
Yes, and Notts have got everybody back as well. It's a 4-man wall, and there's a couple of Woking players who fancy this one. Mark Shelton fancies it, he took the earlier one. Dave Tarpey as well, standing over it, the Woking number 7, as is the captain Josh Casey, and the referee's just making sure that the wall is the full 10 yards. And Jamal Loza is lurking behind that wall. It's whipped into, it's a good save as well from Sam Slocum. Got enough power behind it, but I think Sam Slocum's wall, the Notts wall rather, did its job. Didn't really have to do anything, and in the end it was just carefully curved inside the goalkeeper's gloves.
Yeah, again, Tarpey hitting the target, but just not hitting the corner of the goal, was he? And it was comfortable. Sam Slocum, a couple of steps to his left, and able to catch the ball in front of his chest and clear the danger for Notts. But yeah, don't want to be conceding too many more of them free kicks. They've had 3 sighters now, 2 of them on target. You don't want to keep giving them free kicks away.
Yeah, you do get the feeling that the more chances they'll get, you do get the feeling that they probably will take one of them, Will Woking, who are without a win in 10 games, and it's looking to be, without a win in 11 now. Should things stay as they are. I'll give you the other scores around the National League in a moment, as the ball is sent forward, headed away by Richard Brinley in towards Mitch Rose, in towards Carl Wotan, gives it back towards Rose, looking to go down that right-hand side to find Enzio Boldwijn. Again, it's very difficult to see down that right-hand side, but it is Baldwin on the ball. Gives it back to Brinley, just outside the dugout. And it's back with Connell Rawlinson, who rolls it across to Ben Turner. And those two at the back, Rawlinson and Turner, just look so composed on the ball. Whenever there's any pressure on them at all, they just sort of have a bit of a chemistry between them. They know exactly where each other's going to be, and that can be key for Notts. Yeah,
they're doing well at the minute. Notts just trying to have a period of possession. Last 5 minutes or so, since Notts have gone 2 up, Woking have come back into the game. They've had to respond. They've upped their tempo a little bit and had 1 or 2 free kicks, as we've mentioned about, but a bit more attacking play. So Notts doing the right thing, maybe just trying to take the sting out of the game, have a period of possession again, get back on the ball, and then get back on the front foot.
So Woking managed by Alan Dowson. The players call him Dowson. The throw comes in from the left-hand side. Going to break off here because it's with Wes Thomas outside the penalty area. Has to give it back to Michael Doyle. Back to Thomas again. It's back just inside the centre circle with Enzio Boldwijn. Gives it towards Mitch Rose. Not trying to work the ball over to the right-hand side this time with Rawlinson, who has to roll it back to his goalkeeper very quickly because Jake Hyde was breathing down his neck. And Rawlinson just gives a little thumbs up to Brindley, saying, sorry mate, I didn't quite see you there. I would have played it to you if I'd have seen you. And now here goes Doyle. The ball comes off Doyle, and it's actually kept in play off the Notts skipper, but now it's picked up by Shelton, and Shelton looking to thread one through towards Jake Hyde. It's a poor ball in the end, as Jake Hyde had made that run behind the Notts back line. Notts can come away with the ball again. It's a good ball forward by Doyle, looking for Wotan, but Ben Gehring will get there and clear it downfield, and it's actually, it was almost kept in play by Wotan. In fact, it was kept in play. In fact, no, correction again, it wasn't kept in play. Linesman's flag goes up, and Woking will have a throw. It came off Carl Wotan in the end. But I'm going to give you the scores from the rest of the National League. A couple of more goals from the last time we, from the last time we gave you the scores earlier in the evening. Bromley 1, Stockport 1, and Ebbsfleet is still leading at Chorley. It's 2-0 to Barrow at Dagenham and Redbridge. Dover as well, taking a 2-0 lead against Eastleigh. Harrogate as well, 2-0 against Barnet. It's 0-0 between Maidenhead and Fylde. Fylde, of course, going to be managed by Jim Bentley, who the former Morecambe manager. Spent 8 years with the Shrimps and decides he's going to have a new challenge in the National League. Sutton and Halifax is goalless, as is Torquay and Wrexham, and as you do know, Notts have a 2-0 lead here against Woking here at the King Field Stadium, where we have played 38.5 minutes. And Neil, I'm very pleased with the opening 38.5 minutes now, Stal.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he'll be delighted. Woking just coming back into the game, like I say, since that second goal, but you know, we want to see this through to half-time and go in there with that 2-goal lead intact.
Another opportunity for Woking from this set piece. It's a free kick about 40 yards from goal, wide right, looks to send one in towards the far post, and it's headed on by Diarra, and he actually got it down towards the far corner, but it was collected again by Sam Slocum, and that's another threat from the set piece from the home side. This time it was Moussa Diarra, the Frenchman, who leapt highest and sort of nodded it down towards the far corner, but Sam Slocum looked a bit untroubled as he just came out to gather it in the end, and yeah, again a danger from the,
yeah,
from the
they've certainly
start.
got a threat, haven't they? I mean, I'd say both the centre halves are, you know, big aerial threats. I think Ben Turner did enough against him, but Diarra got the header in. Sam Slocum able to gather fairly comfortably on his goal line, but like I say, won't want to concede too many free kicks in their own half, because Woking will not be shy in putting the ball forward. We know they were going to be direct before the start. Notts have kept the ball well, and they've not been able to go too direct, but certainly from the set plays, they've thrown them two big centre halves forward, and they're going to cause problems.
Yes, and as things stands, Notts will overtake Woking. They're actually started tonight only a 1 point behind the home side. Notts County on 27 points in 8th. Woking were in 6th. But after tonight, you do get the feeling that those two are probably going to switch places. Woking somehow 8th without winning in any of their last 10 games. That just shows how crazy this league is sometimes. You can go on a 10-game, well, not losing streak, but a 10-game streak without a win and still somehow find yourself in the playoff places. As there's a player down on the floor, a Woking player. The referee comes over to make sure that he's okay. I think it might well be. It's not Diarra. I'm not entirely sure who it is.
No, I can't see while he's on his back. It's
possibly Glenn Rhee. Not entirely sure.
Could be. It was Mitch Rose again. One or two of the Woking players just remonstrating with the ref, saying, you know, how many more are you going to let him get away with? That time it's an aerial challenge. Mitch Rose with his arm up. You put your arm up naturally to protect yourself, but obviously if it was Rhee, I think he obviously let him know he was there. And just at this moment, you've got the Woking skipper, Josh Casey, just saying to the ref, and he's pointing to a couple of places around the centre circle, saying, come on, how many more is that? And I think Mitch Rose is just walking that tight rope. I don't think he's not going to get away with another, that's for sure.
Looks like he's going to be okay. 41 minutes gone here at the Kingfield Stadium, on the home of live Nottinghamshire Sport. It is 2-0 to the Magpies. And if you're wondering where Charlie is, Charlie will be back with you on Saturday alongside Mark Stallard in the full live commentary of Notts' home game against Hartlepool, in front of a complete match day where Forest have the long trip down to Luton, down towards Kenilworth Road. Full match commentary on that one as well on the FM frequencies. That's of course will be on DAB and online as well, and we'll have updates on Mansfield Town's home game against Colchester. And now here comes Kane Ferdinand down the left-hand side, looks to send one in towards the penalty area. It's headed away by Mitch Rose. Good defending from the midfielder, and it's come out towards Michael Doyle. Doyle is going to drop down towards the edge of the penalty area, but Reagan Booty looks to pick up, use his strength and twist and turn and give it back to Damien Mccrory. Good play from Reagan Booty just to hold off his man and work the space down the left-hand side, but Damien Mccrory tried to clear it downfield, but in the end he just whacks it straight out of play for a throw. Yeah,
it's a throw-in, and the ref bringing them forward 30-40 yards. It's back inside the Notts half, but just a little bit of desperation from Notts in terms of the defending there, clearing the ball. It's been the first time in this half, and with 42 minutes on the clock, that Woking have had any sort of sustained pressure.
Ball poked forward towards the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by the big boots of Ben Turner, who turned down a deal at Mansfield Town to come here to Notts County. Fancied a challenge in the National League as Brinley's darting down the right-hand side. Enzio Baldwin picks up the loose ball. It's onto the chest of Brindley, and Brindley's got a bit of space to work into as he threads one across the edge of the penalty area towards Booty. Good touch from him, and it's a good challenge to win the ball. And I think it actually came off Brindley and out of play. Not Brindley, sorry, Booty. And it came off Booty and out of play for a Woking throw. I think good challenge in the end, and he had to get there.
He certainly did. It was a great tackle. I think it was Jack Cook, the right back for Woking. It was a ball across the 25-30 yards out from the Woking goal, a ball from right to left onto Booty. He tried to take his first touch beyond, and his momentum taking beyond Cook, but Cook made a fantastically strong right-footed tackle, last-ditch tackle, got the ball, deflected it back off Reagan Booty. And Reagan Booty just getting up a little bit gingerly himself. Maybe he failed on the after effects of it.
Yes, Reagan Booty, one of 3 changes made by Niall Ardley ahead of tonight, and Michael Dorn picks up the loose ball inside the centre circle, gives it back towards Wes Thomas, who got the second goal. It's threaded wide towards Damien Mccrory down that left-hand side. He's got room to cross, but he's decided to go in back towards Reagan Booty. Back to Doyle again. Here goes Mitch Rose just outside the centre circle, threads one through the middle towards Enzio Baldwin, but he's challenged on halfway, and now Damien Mccrory and Richard Brinley should get back, although I say that, Mitch Rose does his defensive midfield duties this time and wins the ball in midfield, gives it back to Doyle, and Doyle looking to thread on through, and it's actually ricocheted kindly to Wes Thomas. Thomas thought about shooting, decided against it, is drifting towards the right-hand side, and gives it back to Brindley on towards Mitch Rose. Rose on towards Michael Doyle, and Doyle shaping to shoot. He strikes one. It got lots of power behind it, straight into the shoulder of Ben Gehring. Big Ben Gehring, who had to get in the way of that one. That one looked goal bound from Michael Doyle. Certainly got plenty behind it from his left foot. Doyle picks up the ball again. We've got about 40 seconds plus stoppage time before the half-time whistle. And it's back with Damien Mccrory down the left-hand side, and somehow, well, I know we mentioned it before the game start, but looks like Notts' 2 goals has really taken the atmosphere out of this game here at Woking. It's just stunned completely into silence there.
The home fans were not making much noise before the game, when the game started, and certainly not since the 6th minute when Enzio gave Notts the lead, and since then obviously Wes Thomas has doubled it, so it's been the Notts fans we've heard celebrating, but they're the furthest part of the ground away from us, so you don't know whether people can pick that up at home. But yeah, it is a very, very quiet atmosphere tonight.
It's going to be 2 minutes added on here at the end of the first half as the ball is in towards Woking. Kicked away though by Moussa Diarra before Woking can get his chest on it. And yeah, the Notts fans would have got a great view of Enzio's superb opening goal on the 6th minute. Sort of a lovely finish with his right foot as the ball is footed through towards Carl Woking. Defensive error there, and it's Woking again into the side netting. I thought it was 3. Woking got through on goal. It was a poor touch from the final defender, allowed Carl Woking to get in down the left-hand channel, fired it. Goal was left-footed, but in the end just couldn't quite have the accuracy, and it hits the side netting, and that should have probably been 3 style.
Yeah, it was another good opportunity. Diarra just maybe doing enough to put Woking off with his left-footed finish, but it was the initial ball again, I think from Michael Doyle trying to slot Woking in, making that run down the inside left channel. It should have been easily cut out by Ben Gehring. The ball just went over his foot and into the path of Woking, and as Diarra tried to make a last-ditch tackle, Woking from about 12 or 13 yards out, slightly to the left-hand side, could only find the near post side netting, the wrong side of the post of Craig Ross's goal, and it stays at 2.
Yes, we're into the second of the 2 minutes added on here at the Kingfield Stadium. Excuse me. We're not still lead by 2-0. Ball is down the Notts right, and it's picked up by Baldwin. Looks to have another go here, but instead he gives it back towards Michael Doyle. And Doyle already had an effort earlier, but it was brought down by Gehring, but sent in towards the penalty area, on towards Wes Thomas, but it's just ahead of Wes Thomas as he tangled with the defender, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. And based on the first 46.5 minutes still, I suppose the last couple of seconds will be just for Notts to get in at half-time, regroup, assess that first half and see how they can improve and really put Woking to the sword.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Niall will be delighted with that first half. They've scored 2. They've created numerous other chances as well. He may even feel a little bit of grief that they've maybe not got another one as well. But, you know, we've seen 1 or 2 bits from Woking as the half-time whistle does indeed go from that goal kick.
The referee blows his whistle. We are back underway here, and Stal, what do Notts need to do in the second half in order just to see out the rest of the game?
Well, I mean, it sounds obvious, doesn't it, but do exactly what they did at the start of the first half. First 20 minutes they were excellent, really good, probably as good as we've seen them all season in terms of their possession has been good throughout, but with a cutting edge as well, creating chances, scoring 2, you know, creating a couple more where they might feel they could have had more as well. So, you know, they've got to do that. They've got to stay on the front foot. They've got to move the ball sharply. And say the one thing they've got to guard against is any sort of complacency creeping in, slowing the game down in terms of the way they're passing the ball. And what they don't want to do is give Woking a bit of a leg up in the game by letting them get the next goal.
Yes, and there were a couple of threats from aerial set pieces. I'm going to break off here because that's exactly what's happened. Is it's headed towards goal, and it was Moussa Diarra who headed it across the penalty area. I think it was Dave Tarpey who headed it straight at Sam Slocum, and again an early threat for Woking. We've only played a minute inside the second half, and just exactly as Mark Stallard was saying, yeah, the aerial threat is there from set pieces, and Notts will not want to give Woking a way back into this game. Yeah,
that's it. That is their big threat, you know, and I say big with no pun intended, but that's exactly what it is. Moussa Diarra, on that occasion, just a ball from the goalkeeper, free kick, going 60 yards towards the edge of Notts' penalty area. He wins the header cleanly across goal, and as you say, it was Dave Tarpey with a header, thankfully for Notts, comfortably from about 12 or 13 yards out, comfortably at Sam Slocum so he can grab it. But they are going to be a danger from any time they put the ball aerially into Notts' box. Notts have got to defend well, but they've got to still go and look for this third goal. You fancy if they get the next goal, Notts, that will probably put the game to bed.
You'd think so, as Notts will have a free kick down the right-hand side, about 10 yards outside the penalty area. It's right next to the touchline as well. I think Mitch Rose got sent tumbling to the floor. I'll quickly give you the teams, or the Notts team for the time being anyway. Sam Slocum in goal. It's a 4-4-2 formation with 3 changes in there. No place in the starting 11 for Christian Dennis. He's on the bench alongside Zamana Bakayoko and Sam Osborne as well, who was one of the changes. And so in came Reagan Booty, Connor Rawlinson, who shook off a calf injury, just going to break off because it's a free kick. 2 Notts taken towards Baldwin, and Baldwin sends one into the penalty area. It's going to break towards Michael Doyle, who sends it with his head. First time, still with Doyle again. Sort of gets a good leap on him, does Michael Doyle, to try and head the ball into the penalty area. It's played down the line towards Jake Hyde, looks to turn and send it forward again towards Dave Tarpey, and Tarpey's got the run in here, but Mitch Rose is catching up with him very quickly down that right hand side. It's Tarpey with his back to goal, gives it towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's good defensive play from Doyle and Rose, and then Booty just sticks his boot through it and sends it down the left hand side and out for a throw. I'll quickly give you the teams very quickly again. So it's Brindley, Turner, Rawlinson and Mccrory are your back 4, and Baldwin, Doyle, Rose and Booty are the midfield 4, and a front 2 of Kyle Walton and Wes Thomas. Enzio got the opening goal on 6 minutes with a wonderful finish as well. I'm just going to break off again because Woking come forward with the ball. It's a bit of a heavy challenge on Mitch Rose as he tried to sneak in and steal the ball away from Mark Shelton, and Notts will have a free kick just outside their own penalty area.
Yeah, again, just pressure from Woking. They'll, their manager will have got into them at half time. It's not all about Notts. It's Woking as the home team are going to respond, aren't they? They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Notts, you would imagine, for 10, 15, 20 minutes to see if they can breach that back 4 and get themselves back in the game.
There goes Wes Thomas as he offloads it to Enzio Baldwin. It's back with Rose inside the centre circle. Look to send one down the right hand side, but it's well read by Josh Casey, who marches forward with the ball with his captain's armband on, and he's got Jamal Loza to his left hand side, gets it back from Loza down the left again. Baldwin trips up his man, and it's going to be a free kick to Woking. 4 minutes gone in the second half, still Woking 0, Notts County 2, but that was a good break from Woking down the left hand side, and Enzio just had to sort of tactically foul, I think it was Josh Casey, as he looked to put in a ball from the left hand side.
Yeah, it was a quick break, but it came from Mitch Rose, just misplaced pass in the middle of the park, giving the ball away. Now that didn't happen at the start of the first half, and you can see there just a little sloppy pass, and immediately Woking on the front foot and have got a free kick out on their left hand side near Notts penalty area. Dangerous position to concede from.
I think it's Kane Ferdinand who's gone over to take it, possibly. It's a long way away in front of the Notts fans. It's sent towards the far post, and it's headed away. I think it was Ben Turner who got the head on it. It's come back towards Mark Shelton, whips one in towards the far post, and it's looped up high over the top. And out of play for a Notts goal kick. I think it was Diarra who tried to get there, as Jamal Loza was lurking as well there at the far post, but Notts get away with one again. Still 2 goals to the good. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Live on BBC Radio Nottingham, live from the Kingfield Stadium. Notts County in action at the weekend as well as part of our 3-way match day, starting with Forest heading down to Kenilworth Road against Luton. Notts at home to Hartlepool, with updates on Mansfield's home game against Colchester. The throw-in comes quickly towards Jake Hyde down the right-hand side. He's got Ben Turner for company as well. He gets towards the corner flag, the ball whipped in by Tarpey, and it's smashed away, but it's going to be cleared towards Loza. Loza's got a chance to whip one towards goal here. He doesn't do. Good defending from Notts to barrage the ball away, and it's still not cleared though. It's down the left-hand side of the penalty area. Still down the left again with Glenn Rhee. Rhee looks to send one in. It's in towards Ferdinand. Gets it back from Rhee, and the back heel doesn't come off for Woking, and now Wes Thomas brings the ball away. Looking to go down the right-hand side this time, and it deflects off Wes Thomas, and out of play for a Woking throw. Notts have got the tails up.
Well, Woking have, yeah, certainly.
Woking rather.
Yeah, it's under pressure, Notts are. Woking certainly come out. They've increased the tempo massively at the start of this second half, and Notts' defence has just been stretched.
And here goes Damien Mccrory under a bit of pressure down that left-hand side, but it was a late challenge on Mccrory. He got sent tumbling to the floor by Dave Tarpey, and this will hopefully breathe a bit of sigh of relief for Notts, because at the moment Woking not giving them an inch of space at all. Every time any of the back 4 pick up the ball, they're certainly charged upon by the front 3 of Loza, Hyde and Tarpey, and certainly the half-time words of the Woking manager seems to have sunk into the Woking players.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I say quite a bit. Sometimes the easiest time to play in a football match is when you're 2 down, because you throw caution to the wind, but you are still in the game, and you know that. You know if you go and get the next goal, then you've seen football matches turn on the head. So it's a dangerous moment for Notts, dangerous time. They've got to do things right. Woking have started lively at the start of this second half, and Notts are defending really by their fingernails almost at times there. A couple of dangerous balls across the penalty area, and like I say, Woking's Jake Day just trying Jake Hyde, should I say, just trying a little back heel, that trying to pick out his teammate. If he had found him, he would have been in. As it was, it went behind him, and Notts were able to clear, but they've been a little bit sloppy. Notts maybe just been caught and surprised by the pace of Woking's play at the start of this second half.
They've really come out the blocks in this second half. 7.5 minutes of that second half played. Notts still have a 2-goal lead, but Woking in the ascendancy here as they look for a way back into this game. Woking haven't actually won in their last 10 games, so yet they sit 6th in the table. Crazy league. It's the National League, with Notts County sitting 2 places below them, only a point behind them though, on 27, but as things stand, Notts County will overtake the hosts this evening. So Woking have got a free kick. Played 8 minutes of the second half, still 2-0 to Notts County, of course, and it's going to be Josh Casey to take this free kick about 10 yards inside the Notts half, and Notts have got everybody back on the edge of their own penalty area, and Michael Doyle rather rushes over to mark the far post, and it's sent in towards the penalty area, and it's headed up in the air, and again it's going to drop down, head struck towards goal, but it was Rhee, the Luton loanee, got plenty behind it, got enough power, but nowhere near enough accuracy, and it's sent into the giant stand that dwarfs this stadium here, and yeah, that was harmless in the end from the Luton loanee, but again, warning signs for Notts. Yeah,
it is. Again, they're not going to mess about, are they? As soon as they get any sort of possession, any sort of set piece around the halfway line or even further in their own half, they send the big men forward and they put it in there and they make you defend. And Ben Turner, Rawlinson have won a couple of decent headers already throughout this game. They're going to need to win a few more before the end of the game, you feel.
Notts really haven't had a kick in this second half, to be honest, and now here goes Wes Thomas, and hopefully he will get a kick down the left-hand side. Difficult to see because there's a big pillar right in the way where the left-hand corner flag is, and I think it's going to be a Woking throw. I think it came off Wes Thomas and out of play, so Jack Cook will take this throw, but it was a good touch from Woking to give it to Wes Thomas down the left-hand side. First sign of life from Notts County in this second half. They've been under a lot of pressure from the home side, but they still have a 2-goal advantage to the Magpies. Shots for handball given against Kane Ferdinand, and Notts will have a free kick inside the centre circle. We're approaching the 10th minute here of the second half, and Notts still lead by 2-0. Yeah,
Notts players, you see there, Mitch Rose just taking a touch and finding he was under pressure before he got chance for his second. Kane Ferdinand just coming in, nicking the ball. Fortunately, it bounced up off his arm, and the refs giving Notts a free kick, and they'll just take their time, getting it set, making sure they're right, no rush. And so Woking have certainly started on the front foot in this second half. With nearly 10 minutes of the second half gone, they've increased the tempo massively since the first.
Wes Thomas will, not Wes Thomas rather, Michael Doyle sends in the free kick, but it's headed away by Musa Diarra, and the ball is rolled all the way back towards Sam Slocum. Slocum will just take a touch and boot it forward over towards Enzio Baldwin. Got a little bundle there in the back of the head, did Baldwin, gets sent someone into the floor, and that'll be another free kick to Notts County, about 10 yards inside the Woking half, just on towards the right-hand side. Notts do have options on the bench, of course, only 5 of them in the National League, but there's no goalkeeper, so if Sam Slocum was to get injured in this game, you do wonder who will take on the gloves. But on the bench for the Magpies, you've got Christian Dennis, top goal scorer. You've got Dion Kelly-Evans, Zamana Bakayoko, Sam Osborne and Sean Shields, so really good options for Notts. That just shows the strength and depth that Niall Ardley has got.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no Nathan Tyson as well, who's been back towards the first team recently.
Ball whipped in and it's headed away easily by Ben Gehring. Shouts for handball given against, I think it was Mitch Rose, and he kicks the ball away slightly, and now here come Woking down the left-hand side with Jamal Loza, the Jamaican, trying to skip past Enzio Baldwin. A real sprint going on down that left-hand side, and he manages to pick out a ball, but he can only find Michael Doyle. And Doyle pokes it forward, looking for Baldwin again. In fact, it was Wes Thomas who was trying to get there, and in the end it comes off Wes Thomas. No, it doesn't. It came off a Woking man, and Notts will have a throw, I think. Or no, will he?
Yeah, he's given it to Notts. I think Mitch Rose is getting another final warning.
Oh, is he?
Despite getting another one, it seemed just a couple of minutes ago. He has conceded a couple of innocuous fouls at the start of this second half, but he did concede a number in the first half, and one or two Woking players just in the ref's ear saying, come on, how many is he going to be allowed? And I think any foul from Mitch Rose now will see him in the book.
So his final warning then for Mitch Rose as the ball is sent down the right-hand side. It's picked up by Baldwin, and Baldwin trying to skip past his man. He just ran straight into the defender, and it's come away towards the left-hand side. Picked up well by Brindley. Brindley's just happy to give it back to Ben Turnip on the edge of his own penalty area, and Ben Turnip looks to send one down the middle, looking for Carl Walton, but that's bread and butter for Ben Gehring, who just heads it away and to safety for a Notts throw midway inside the Woking half, just in front of Neil Ardley's dugout, where he's retaken his seat.
Yeah, it's not a bad ball though, is it, from Ben Turner, given what happened at the start of this second half. The pattern of play is totally different to the first. So he's just playing down the channels, just trying to win a bit of territory. It's exactly what he does. Notts now have the ball inside the Woking half.
And Notts will have a free kick in a promising position as well, as Damien Mccrory got a little nudge in the back. He got sent tumbling to the floor, and now this is a big opportunity, even though it was at the same end where Woking had plenty of chances from the set piece. Now Notts have had a good chance from the set piece, a chance for 3 here for Notts County. It's going to be a free kick taken by Reagan Booty. Looks to send one in towards the penalty area, on towards Turner, and it's scooped away, and now to play for a corner. Notts' first corner of the game. I think it was Diarra who got the final touch, as Ben Turner was lurking inside the penalty area. All 6'4" of him. Real danger from set piece, but Diarra sort of matched him for height there and managed to get ahead of him, and it helps it out of play for a Notts corner, and their first corner of the game. Yeah,
incredibly their first corner of the game, considering how much attacking play they've had, but that's exactly what it is. Good ball in from Reagan Booty, and last-ditch defending from one of the Woking defenders.
13 gone in the second half, as Reagan Booty looks like he's the primary set-piece taker for Notts at the moment. Sends one into the penalty area, struck towards goal by it was Mccrory who struck it in the end, and it was cleared off the line by the combination of goalkeeper and defenders as well. A real smart set-piece from Notts County. Reagan Booty laid one across the edge of the penalty area, and it was well struck low by Damien Mccrory with his left foot, and it went through a crowd of bodies, and Notts have actually got a free kick off the back of that. Not entirely sure why the referee's given the free kick, but Notts will certainly take it.
Yeah, it was. Damien Mccrory, really good set piece. You say a little low delivery from Reagan Booty, skimming across the top of the surface of the grass. Damien Mccrory coming on, striking it first time from almost the edge of the box, low through a crowd of players, and Craig Ross did well to stick out a foot and clear it. I think the refs give this free kick, 25 yards out for Notts, for a handball from a Woking player, and this is a shooting opportunity for Notts.
Really good opportunity as well for Notts, who lead by 2-0. We're coming up to the hour here at the Kingfield Stadium, live on BBC Radio Nottingham, and it'll be Reagan Booty to send one. It's not a shooting opportunity, it's headed towards the far post. It's going to come back out to Baldwin, and Baldwin looks to go on his left foot, gives it back towards Brinley, strikes it low towards goal, steered into the far corner by Wes Thomas, and I think he's injured himself actually in the build-up to that. He's limping. It was Wes Thomas who steered it goalwards. Notts have a third in this game, by the way. We've come up to the hour here, and it's Woking 0, Notts County 3, but a bit of concern for Wes Thomas there as he's limping, as he steered that one towards the far post, past the goalkeeper, and Notts have a very crucial third goal. It's Woking 0, Notts County 3 with an hour played.
Yeah, absolutely crucial third goal, because we said Woking have started well in this second half, but that's exactly what Notts needed. Thought they were going to shoot from the free kick. It was only 25 yards out, but they opted to stand it up to the back post. They initially cleared it Woking to the edge of the box, and then as the shot came in, it might have been Richard Brinley, low and hard into the middle of the Woking penalty area, onto Wes Thomas's right foot, and he just used the pace on the ball to steer it into the corner of the goal. No chance for Craig Ross, into the left-hand side, beyond the Woking goalkeeper. I don't know if Wes Thomas has just maybe opened up his knee or his ankle in turning that ball in, but he's certainly got a limp. But he won't be too worried about that. Gets what we think is his second of his game, and the third for Notts. And Notts lead 3-0.
Yes, that one was definitely Wes Thomas, who notched in his... that'll be his 5th goal of the season, possibly his 4th, depending on which way you look at the second goal for Notts County. But I think they'll probably discuss that in the changing room after the game, which will be a very happy dressing room as things stand. Notts leading by 3-0. It's exactly the response that Neil Ardley wanted, and a crucial goal as well at a crucial time in the game, where Notts were slowly getting back into the game in the second half after a lot of pressure from Woking in the opening stages of the second half. Woking have the ball down the left-hand side. It's back with Glenn Rhee. Rhee sends one forward towards Josh Casey. Casey sends a throw in quickly towards Jamal Loza, and Rawlinson just sends one downfield. It's going to come back to him though, courtesy of the red and white of Woking. And now it's back inside the Woking half with Ben Gehring. Gehring sends it forward, looking to go around the back, and Sam Slocum will just let that one roll into the penalty area, take his time, and now Notts can probably just start winding down the clock. I know we've got a long time to go yet in this game, still got half an hour or so to go, but Notts with a 3-0 advantage, you do think it probably will be game over style.
Yeah, hopefully that'll take the wind out of the Woking sails. You imagine that is the goal that will put this game to bed tonight. And from now on in, it's about game management for Notts. I've just been looking at Wes Thomas, seeing how he's moving since the goal, and he's certainly obviously feeling something, so it wouldn't be a surprise. Although you're as a striker, when you've scored 2 goals in a game, you're reluctant to go off. It wouldn't be a surprise to see Neil Ardley maybe make a change in order just to preserve his frontman.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he is on a hat-trick, or is he? We don't know.
We'll put him on a hat-trick.
We'll put him on a hat-trick, yeah. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt that he did tap in Notts' second goal. So Notts leading by 3-0 here at Woking. And of course, what also is just as important at the moment, they have kept a clean sheet for the time being. It will be Notts' 7th clean sheet of the season, which will equally please Neil Ardley. But the ball comes away towards Kane Ferdinand, and Ferdinand gives it through towards Jamal Lozo, and it's a big boot from Rawlinson to step in and intercept the ball. It's with Mitch Rose in towards Doyle, the midfield two combining well there as Doyle gives it forward towards Thomas, and Thomas looking to slide one through, and it hits the heels of Kyle Wotan as he looked to try and gather it as he raced through on goal, and Woking live to fight another day for the time being. But you do think that that third goal may well start to open the floodgates for Notts County as the ball is sent down the right-hand side, and Ben Turnip not taking any chances, using his experience and knocking that one out of play for a Woking throw. Yeah,
and the right decision as well, with Jamal Loza just lurking on his shoulder, looking for any mistakes. He doesn't want to get into a foot race with the Woking frontman.
Nearly 19 gone in the second half. Notts leading by 3-0, but Woking have a throw down the right-hand side. It's a long throw as well in towards the penalty area. It's not cleared, and there's a player down in the penalty area, shouts for handball. Nothing given. The linesman hasn't flagged either. There's a player on the floor inside the Notts penalty area, and the referee has actually allowed play to go on and is allowed Notts to clear the ball. But certainly the large crowd, the big crowd over behind the goal, gave a big shout for handball there. Not entirely sure who against or what for, but the referee didn't think anything of it. Here's Jamal Loza, struck towards goal, take a little deflection off Mitch Rose, and that'll be a Woking corner, their second of the game. Notts under the cosh again. Yeah, a little bit more pressure from Woking again. Yeah, the first time we've heard the Woking fans all night just about appealing for that penalty, and I don't think there was enough in it. I couldn't really see too much what they were actually appealing for, a handball from somebody, but nothing doing from the referee, and eventually shot deflected over this corner from their attacking left. Corner coming in from the left-hand side, headed away at the near post by Enzio Baldwin. It's going to go for another corner, so that's the third corner of the game for Woking. We've played 20 minutes of the second half here at the Kingfield Stadium, live on BBC Radio Nottingham. Notts lead by 3-0. It's another corner coming in. It's a deep one towards the far post, headed back, shouts for handball, and I think Ben Gehring was appealing there for a penalty. I don't think he's going to get one. Yeah, it's one of them, but it's worth appealing because you only get them sort of decisions when you're 3-0 down, when you're at home, don't you? And it's an easier decision to give them 50-50 ones. Just hope the referee, Mr. Parsons, stays strong, doesn't give a soft penalty. Another corner coming in then towards the far post, and this time it isn't cleared, and shouts for handball. Big strong shouts for handball from Woking, but again the referee turns a blind eye and doesn't give it. The linesman's flag doesn't go up either, and Notts can breathe a sigh of relief as he sends one forward. Does Sam Slocum, looking for Wes Thomas, who's limping a little bit gingerly there after scoring his third goal, but again Notts survivor. Another barrage of set pieces and a couple of handball shots as well, but difficult to tell from here whether they're creditable or not. Yeah, we're a long way away, and the Notts fans sarcastically and quite well just shouting handball every time a Woking player or a Notts player touches the ball. We've had three, well, the loudest noises we've heard of the game all day, apart from Notts fans celebrating the goals. The Woking fans appealing for 3 consecutive penalties for 3 different incidents. Well, they're going to appeal for anything. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I suppose. Yes, 21 gone in the second half. Notts still leading by 3-0. I'll point you in the direction of the Terrace, which is on Friday night from 6 till 7, getting you all ready for the weekend sport, and then after that on the Saturday a full match day of course, after last week's, well, it was kind of a match day and a half, as it were, because we had full live commentary of Notts against Chesterfield. Going to break off here because Wes Thomas nearly got in behind the back line, but yeah, the Forest game against Reading was called off due to a waterlogged pitch. Chesterfield, Notts went ahead. Notts unfortunately lost that one, but Mansfield won at Walsall, and they'll be looking to back that up with a win at home to Colchester. So it's Forest down at Luton, Notts at home to Hartlepool, with updates on Mansfield Town's home game against Colchester. That's on Saturday from 1:30 with Colin and Charlie presenting this time, because Chippers is still on his holidays. The ball is sent down the right hand side, and it's just booted away by Ben Turnip, smashed away. And I said it in the first half, Stal, that the experience of Ben Turnip combined with with the experience of Connell Rawlinson seems to be working dividends for Notts at the moment. It looks like a complete centre-back pairing there with Turner and Rawlinson.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to speak too soon, but we're halfway through the second half, and at 3-0, what we've seen so far is like I say, we knew they were going to be put up against a physical test, and certainly an aerial test. And although they've had one or two airy, scary moments, they've dealt with it pretty well. And like I say, I think this at the moment, what we're seeing is Notts' sort of premier back four, if you like, in the manager's eyes, that's for sure.
Yes, and we're still waiting for there's boos around the Kingfield Stadium. Not entirely sure what for, but I think it was because the ball got booted out of the ground, and so we do have a replacement ball, and it's thrown into the pitch by Jack Cook. And again, it's difficult to see from here with these dugouts, but the ball is with Glenn Rhee, and Rhee gives it infield towards Shelton. Oh, yes, Shelton down the left-hand side. The ball whipped in towards the far post. Ben Turner has to get there and does. It's headed away. Danger not over yet for Notts, though, as it's a couple of keepy-uppies there from Jake Hyde to try and set himself up with a volley inside the penalty area. It was blocked before he could pull the trigger. And now Carl Walton's going to go up the other end, but he's shepherded well by the two big figures that are the Woking centre-back pairing of Moussa Diarra and Ben Gehring. And so Carl Walton again sort of cursing his luck that the ball didn't quite come to him, but it's a high ball down the middle again. That one's just going to roll out harmlessly for a goal kick to Notts County. A couple of substitutes warming up for Neil Ardley. I mean, Sal, if you were Neil Ardley, what would you, who would you bring in?
Well, I'll be honest, I'd be looking to protect anybody who's got a knock. I think Wes Thomas certainly maybe just twisted his knee or his ankle in scoring the goal, but it's Woking making the first substitution.
Yes.
I'll let you announce that, because I missed who's just come off.
Yes, I think it's Glenn Rhee coming off and Sean Donnellan coming on. So Donnellan comes on for Glenn Rhee. He's not really been in the game too much as the Luton loanee.
No, but from a Notts perspective, like I say, you want to just make sure that nobody's carrying any knocks or nobody's feeling anything. You maybe just look to replace them at 3-0 up. You've got that luxury, 22 minutes or so to go. You've got that luxury of being able to just look after one or two players. But other than that, you know, you can make his substitutions at will now. Yes,
and so Sean Donnellan is on for the final 20 minutes here at the Kingfield Stadium, where Notts lead by 3-0. I'll give you the scores from elsewhere in the National League in just a moment after this kick from the goalkeeper. He sends it in towards the Notts penalty area, and it's actually gone towards the corner flag, but it's cleared away downfield by a Notts boot, and Notts will live and breathe again. Again, I'll give you the scores in a bit, but Notts at the moment under a little bit of pressure down the left-hand side. It's going to be a throw to Woking. We've got 20 minutes to go. Notts certainly will be happy with how things are standing. 3-0 up away from home with a clean sheet as well, and it's sent in towards a penalty area. I don't want to speak too soon because Woking might score from this chance. They won't now though, because Baldwin picks up the loose ball and charges forward. He's over halfway already as Enzio Baldwin, the Dutchman, just gliding down that right hand side, and he's hit it against a Woking defender, and he's certainly gained some yards there, did the Dutchman, and a good breakaway.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Gained about 40-50 yards, took the ball midway inside the Woking half. I mean, if he could get his head up, a little reverse ball. He had Michael Doyle, of all people, screaming up in the middle, who was, not to say on his own, but like I say, we said it before the game, he's supposed to be coming out top of the running charts and the fitness charts. And it was the 38-year-old who's overtaking Enzio Baldwin, then getting forward, giving him an option.
I've noticed that a couple of times when you get an experienced player and they go all for leather down the looking to go through the middle, trying to get that breakaway, trying to get in the right area. Oh dear, what's going on here in front of the Woking dugout? Not entirely sure, because we've got a bit of a poor view of what's going on here, and the referee is going to pull out a card.
Damien Mccrory's been booked, isn't he? But
yeah, Mccrory, who got in a bit of a tangle there, so he'll go into the referee's notebook. But yeah, difficult
Couldn't
to
tell
say
you
really.
what for, we didn't see it.
Yeah, it was really difficult to see what happens. I mean, just to give you a perfect example of the view we've got here, to our right was where the incident happened. There's a big pillar right in the way with a no smoking sign on it, and then in front of that you've got the opposite dugout, which is just completely blocking sort of about 5 or 6 metres of the pitch, and that's exactly where that incident happened. So but Woking will have a free kick sent in from the right hand side. It's dangerous in towards the far post, and it's cleared off the line. I think it was scrambling around the penalty area, not sure who got the final kick, but Notts live to fight another day. And again, those set pieces almost working dividends for Woking. It was a really teasing ball in towards the penalty area, but now Enzio has stayed onside, goes down the left hand side, he's bearing down on goal. Could it be 4 for Notts County? It's Enzio Baldwin. Oh, what a finish! Never any doubt at all for Enzio Baldwin, who gets his second in the game. Stayed onside and glided down the left-hand side in towards the penalty area. And how about that for a composed finish? Just tunked it past the goalkeeper to give Notts a 4th here at the Kingfield Stadium. We have played 27 minutes in the second half, and Notts surely now are home and dry. It's Woking 0, Notts County 4, 2 for Enzio Baldwin.
Yeah, absolutely home and hosed now. That puts the icing on the cake. A really composed finish from Enzio's run virtually half the length of the pitch from this left-hand side. Nobody was going to catch it, but a curious sort of 30 seconds of football. It was a dangerous ball in from the Woking free kick. It sort of hung around inside the Notts 6-yard box. Nobody got anything on it until a big boot clear, and then eventually a little ricochet fell into the path of Enzio Baldwin, who was in behind the Woking defence. And as I say, nobody's going to catch him. Cutting in from the left-hand side, just entered the penalty area on his left foot, drew the keeper and just slotted it in at the near post. 4 for Notts, 2 for Enzio, 2 for Wes Thomas.
Yeah, what a combination that is. And so 28 gone in the second half. Notts are surely home and dry. It's all a case now of keeping Woking out, trying to keep that clean sheet. That'll be the main priority now. They've got the goals they've needed. Neil Ardley has got the response that he wanted as well. And so Notts County leading by 4 goals to 0 on match night here from the Kingfield Stadium, live on BBC Radio Nottingham. And Charlie Slater, if you're wondering where he is, he will be back with you on match day on Saturday, where Notts host Hartlepool, Forest down at Luton, and Mansfield at home to Colchester. I'll give you the scores from the National League. Still 0-0 at Boreham Wood between them and Aldershot. It's Bromley 2, Stockport 2. Ebbsfleet, the battle at the bottom is going Ebbsfleet's way. They're 3-0 up at Chorley. Dagenham and Redbridge are losing 2-0 at home to Barrow. Going to break off here again because Dave Tarpey has got the run in here on Ben Turner, and Turner just happily sticks the ball out of play, not taking any chances again. Dover 2, Eastleigh 1 as well. It's 2-1 to Harrogate against Barnet. Going to break off again because Woking come away with the ball. In fact, Notts come away with the ball this time. It's Wes Thomas, who looks like he's struck off that knee injury that he got when he collected Notts' 3rd goal and his 2nd of the game. And it's a battle of the number 7s down the right-hand side, and it's gone out of play for a Woking throw. Maidenhead 1, Fylde 0. Sutton United losing at home to Halifax. Torquay 1, Wrexham 0. And as we know, Woking 0, Notts County 4. And the ball is with Glenn Rhee. Oh, no, in fact, no, it isn't, because he's gone off the pitch. It's with his replacement, Sean Donnellan, I should say. And Donnellan loses the ball, and it's played up towards Carl Wootton, who's sent tumbling to the floor. And the referee decides it's time to get up and allow play to go on with Woking inside their own half, with Ben Gehring, the big tall centre-back, who gives it back in field towards Mark Shelton, playing a little bit deeper. Is Shelton. It's sent high down the left-hand side, diagonal ball chested back towards his goalkeeper, and oh dear, Sam Slocum between them tried to keep it in play, and it turns out they give away a cheap corner for Woking. Yeah, it was a chest back from I think it was Brindley, who chested it back to Sam Slocum. Slocum tried to keep it in play, juggled it a little bit as he tried to do it, and in the end he didn't manage to do it in the end, and so Woking have got a corner.
Yeah, I think the corner for Woking might just have saved them two Notts players' blushes a little bit, wouldn't it? It could have turned into something real calamitous, but as it is, corner from Woking's left. Notts will be desperate to keep this clean sheet. Always one of them things that footballers enjoy. Corner coming in, it's flicked in towards the far post, and it's scrambled over the line. Is it? No, the goalkeeper smothers it, and Notts live to fight another day. Not entirely sure who got the final touch, whether it was an effort on goal or not. It just sort of scrambled around the penalty area, and Sam Slocum, grateful just to smother the ball
before it got tapped over the line, before a working toe got onto it, and in the end, Notts lived to fight another day. Sean Shields is warming up just in front of us here in the dugout as Neil Riley is about to make his first change. Not entirely sure who he'll come on for. Wes Thomas looks like he's shaking off that injury a little bit, and he'll want his hat-trick, as will Enzio. So we'll wait and see who comes off for Notts. But at the moment, Neil's happy with everything as it is, and why wouldn't he? They're 4-0 up.
Oh, he'll be over the moon. Like I say, asked, after the game Saturday, asked for a response, and that's exactly what he's got. They've not had it all their own way. Started really well in the first half. First 20-25 minutes, they were excellent. But Woking have asked plenty of questions, and Notts have stood firm, and that's a real pleasing sight in itself.
13 minutes to go as Wes Thomas tangles with Moussa Diarra, and now the ball is with Jack Cook down the right-hand side, looking for the run of Dave Tarpey. He doesn't find him now, has to check back inside and give it in field, but it's a good play from Wes Thomas to try and win the ball back, and Wes Thomas does win it back on halfway, but it's just nipped away from him in the end, and Woking can clear it away downfield down the right-hand side, although it's with Mark Shelton, gives it back to Ben Gehring. Gehring rolls it across the Woking half over towards Josh Casey. Played nearly 33 minutes in the second half, 2 goals in each half, of course. Notts 4-0 up. Enzio Baldwin, his first goal was an absolute stunner, and his second one was pretty good as well. And Wes Thomas with a couple of neat finishes as well, as Woking come forward with the ball again, with Josh Casey looking to make something happen for the home side, looking to get a goal back, and it's with Jamal Loza. Jamal Loza squeezes one across goal, it rolls out of play, and out of play for another Woking corner. They've had plenty of corners, Stal.
Yeah, they certainly have, and like I say, we said at half-time, the stats won't always tell you a fair reflection of what's happened in the game, and I'm certain at the end of this it won't be as well, because I think Notts have only had a couple of corners maybe.
Yeah.
Woking have had the bulk of them, but the scoreline, which is the only stat that matters, reads Notts 4-0 to the good.
Indeed, and that corner will come in towards the far post, and it's over Diarra, who was stretching out to try and head it in towards the far post, and in the end it went over Diarra and out to play for a goal kick. Notts will breathe again, as well as it's going to be a change for the home side this time, as I think it's Dave Tarpey who's going to be making way. And Dave Tarpey will be replaced, not entirely sure who by actually, because the number 32's gone up, but I can't see a number 32 on the thing, unless he means Notts. In fact, it is a Notts change. My apologies. Wes Thomas is coming off, and Sean Shields will be coming on to get a couple of minutes to try and see the game out. And what's the thinking behind that change, Dale, do you think?
Well, I would just imagine the fact that Wes Thomas was showing signs of a knock after the goal. I mean, he's been fine in the last few minutes. He doesn't look to be moving too badly, but eyes will be turning to Saturday's game, and you want to make sure that you preserve any player who might just have any sort of niggle. No need to risk him any longer. Just over 10 minutes to go. Yeah, it's very difficult to see here which substitute's going to happen, because we're that close to the dugouts. It's very difficult to tell for who's actually warming up and who's not. But in the end, Sean Shields does come on to get 10 minutes of action here. The 27-year-old on loan from Ebbsfleet. Now the ball is picked up by Sean Donnellan down the right-hand side. He gives it wider towards Jack Cook, and Cook gives it back to Sean Donnellan again. Donnellan with those bright green boots in field, and we've just been handed the attendance here at the Kingsfield Stadium. It's 2,175 people. Difficult to say how many Notts fans are here. There's a small contingent of them over in the far corner as the ball is whipped in towards that corner where the Notts fans are sitting. It's pulled back towards Jamal Loza. Loza looking to shift his body left and right, trying to work his way through across, but in the end it's struck towards goal and it's blocked. Shots for handball as Sean Shields gets his first touch of the ball. He's bundled over on the edge of the box. I thought Notts were going to get a free kick. They're not going to get one, but it's struck towards goal. Took a double deflection. I'm pretty sure that came off Donnellan, but Richard Brinley decided not to take any chances. Not entirely sure whether Brindley thought it had come off a Notts man or not, trying to prevent it from going out for a corner, but now Notts needs to switch on because Loza's fed the ball across goal and it's going to be struck towards goal. Oh dear, that is high and wide, and that is an appalling effort. It sat up nicely for Mark Shelton. He put his right foot through it, sent it, well, it looked like from this angle it was going goalwards, but in the end it was well wide, Stal. Yeah, tried to strike it with the laces, come completely off the outside. I'll have a slice of that, he says, and puts it out nearer to the corner flag than the Notts goal, and Sam Slocum would take his time getting the ball back and taking this goal kick as we're in the last 10 minutes, 9 minutes, plus whatever stoppage time remaining. But as a contest, this has been long since over, since that, well, probably since the third goal realistically went in, killed any hope of a Woking revival. But they did give it a go, didn't they? At the start of the second half, first 10 or 15 minutes, looked really lively, but that wind has gone out their sails now, and it really is just a case of seeing out the game.
It really is, and yeah, Woking really came out the blocks in that second half, as you were saying, Stout, and Notts survived the onslaught of corners and throw-ins that came in, went up the other end and scored 2 to see the game out. Here's Doyle down the left-hand side, gives it to Shields, to Booty, over towards Mitch Rose, and Notts countering in numbers down the right-hand side this time with Brindley, and Brindley gives it back to Doyle inside the centre circle, has to roll it back to Rawlinson. Rawlinson to Doyle again, in towards Reagan Booty. He's playing a more central role this time. He did say that, Stal, that Booty can play in the middle of midfield, and that looks like where he's going to settle for the final well, 8 minutes or so of this game.
Yeah, he has. He's just been pushed inside. Sean Shields is going to come out on his left-hand side, and Notts are playing almost a 4-3-3, 4-5-1 for this last 8 or so minutes. But they're just enjoying some possession at the minute, like I say, not being closed down or hassled or harried, anything like they were at the start of this second half. So Woking will just be glad to get this night over with.
Carl Walton sends a good ball over the top. Lovely touch from Dave Tarpey as he looked to gather the ball under the challenge from Damien Mccrory, but Tarpey's touch was a bit too heavy, and in the end it rolled out for a Notts goal kick. Good pressure from Mccrory, just to knock him a little bit off his stride there and force him into the heavy touch. Good defending from the entire back four, it has to be said, under a little bit of pressure from either wing, and good defending from set pieces as well. It's match night on BBC Radio Nottingham, and we are about 7.5 minutes away from a Notts victory. They're leading by 4-0. 2 for Enzio, 2 for Wes Thomas as well. A comfortable night for Notts at the moment as things stand. And now here goes Jack Cook looking to twist and turn, but he loses out to Sean Shields, fresh off the bench as well, and he's got pace to burn down that left-hand side. He sort of showed it to the defender, nutmegged him as well. Here goes Shields again, looking to get towards the byline, and his cross was blocked, and Notts will have their second corner. Energy from Sean Shields. Yeah,
exactly what you want as a substitute, isn't it? Coming on when you're 4 to the good as a winger, not bad. You've had a fullback who's had a torrid night already, up in front of you, turns him inside and out, nutmegs him, gets to the byline, and but for a double ricochet would have won a corner. Yes, as it is a goal kick to Woking.
Yes, I thought it was a corner. I made that down in my notes, but I had to scribble that out because the referee saw the double ricochet, and it goes down to play for a goal kick. Don't forget as well, myself and the former Notts striker Mark Stallard will be on Facebook live after this game, live on the BBC Radio Nottingham Sport Facebook page. You can also find us on Twitter at BBC RNS and on Instagram as well. All those lovely pictures on there. Just search for BBC Radio Nottingham Sport on Instagram and you'll find us there as well. As Sean Shields tries to win the ball back, good play from Damien Mccrory to win the ball back, but in the end it's in the centre circle with Kane Ferdinand, and Ferdinand stretches it wide towards Josh Casey, and it's more a case of Woking trying to keep the ball and keep it at 4 at the moment. That's a good ball over towards the far side where Mark Shelton was waiting, but he was waiting in an offside position, and Notts will have a free kick right next to their own corner flag, I think, and Notts will happily just take as much time as they like over this free kick and see the game out for what will be a very good victory. Yeah, fantastic away performance, and obviously the result is the main thing, but the performance that's gone with it tonight has been fantastic. You know, started really well with the ball, looked dangerous, got their couple of goals, you know, including that wonder goal from Enzio early on, really set the tone, set them up. But then, you know, sometimes you can come away and when you see 4-0 you think it's been an absolute cakewalk, but Woking have asked questions. You know, the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, they really put Notts under pressure, and Notts withstood that pressure, stood up to it, stood firm. They were stretched at times, but they managed to stay firm, and I think that'll please Niall Ardley almost as much as the 4 goals. Yeah, they really did. Well, they really did do well in that second half, particularly that little bit of pressure that they got from working from the set pieces, and that'll please Niall Ardley probably just as much as the 4 goals, like Mark Stallard said. Unfortunately, we did have some sad news to bring you in the build-up to this game. Jack Dunnett, the former chairman of Notts County, has passed away at the age of 97. He was the former chairman of the Magpies between 1967 and 1987. He was the man who brought in Jimmy Cyril as well. He passed away today at the age of 97. So very sad news, and of course the family of Jack Dunnett has the sympathy of all of us here at BBC Radio Nottingham. I'm sure he'll be very proud of what he would have seen tonight. I'm sure he'll be looking down on the Kingfield Stadium, willing on his beloved Magpies to Shawstall.
Yeah, I'm sure, and you know, obviously sad news, thoughts to the family as well, but yeah, it's he's responsible for bringing an absolute legend to the club in Jimmy Cyril. You know, a lot of Notts history circled around that man. But yeah, sad day for the family, but our best wishes go out to them. And certainly Notts have put on a performance here tonight, you know, fitting of a tribute.
There's not long to go in this game. We've played 87 minutes, and it's still Notts leading by 4 goals to 0. 2 goals from Enzio Baldwin. The first one, I know I keep talking about it, but it was that good. He picked up the ball about 25 yards from goal, shimmied towards the working penalty area, and just sent a beautiful shot into the top corner. It really was top quality from the Dutchman. Wes Thomas doubled the lead on the 19th minute, although it was a bit of confusion as to whether it was Wes Thomas or Carl Wootton, but we think it will be Wes Thomas as well, as the linesman's flag goes up against Jake Hyde, and Notts will have another opportunity to send the ball into the Woking half. Wes Thomas then doubled his tally for the evening, adding in a 3rd for Notts County. After he stabbed home Brindley's shot, it sort of struck towards goal in the end, and Wes Thomas kindly steered it with his right foot, sort of bent his knee a little bit there, and he looked like he was struggling a little bit. We will talk to Niall Ardley after the game and ask him about it, see how Wes Thomas is. He's come off, of course, and Sean Shields has come on, and Enzio completing a wonderful night as well for Enzio, after a lovely run down the left-hand side, all on his own, and a nice finish to boot as well. So Notts leading by 4 goals to 0 as we approach the end of this game. The ball is back in working territory inside their own penalty area. Notts looking for their 3rd away win of the season, and what a win it will be as well. Here's Cook inside the Woking left back berth, and it's switched over the edge of the penalty area for Woking, and Notts pressing a little bit, not putting too much pressure on the Woking back line. They're happy just to sit back and keep working inside their own half. Jack Cook sends the ball forward, a good ball as well, towards Jake Hyde, who's not really had a kick, to be honest, in this game. He's been well marshalled by the centre-back pairing of Ben Turner and Connell Rawlinson. Now here goes Mark Shelton over to Kane Ferdinand, and Ferdinand looking to send one forward, and Baldwin's picked up that ball as well, and that is a last-ditch toe as Enzio Baldwin looked to try and scoop the ball forward, but the ball is in the Notts penalty area. It's rounded the goalkeeper, stabbed it home, but the linesman's flag goes up, and it will stay 4-0 as Jamar Loza sent one round the goalkeeper into the bottom corner, but the linesman's flag goes up, will not count. It stays Woking 0, Notts County 4, as the misery continues for the home side. They will be without a win in 11 games. No idea where they'll be in the table, but you would imagine that they would have dropped out of the playoff places. Yeah, you would think so. Certainly Notts go above them. We know that, and that's probably all we care about, to be honest. But you know, it's a fantastic night for Notts. But Niall Ardley again, ever the professional, will be thinking now it's about Saturday. You know, he wanted to go after the defeat on Saturday against Chesterfield. He issued that challenge to be unbeaten for the rest of the week. They've done the business tonight in no uncertain terms, but straight away he will focus on Saturday and want to make sure we pick up 3 more points at home. 90 minutes are up, and we will have 4 additional minutes here as well at the Kingfield Stadium, where Woking have the ball inside their own half. It's sent in towards the penalty area, and it's headed up towards goal, and Sam Slocum will just jump out and collect it. And yeah, Sam Slocum will just take the sting out of this game a little bit more. Not that there was much of a sting to take out of it, to be honest. Once Notts went 3-0 up, it really was game, set and match to the Magpies. And in a case, after that, it was just a case of how many can Notts get. And so far, they've got 4, 2 for Enzio Baldwin and 2 for Wes Thomas as well. But Wes Thomas is off, so it's a chance for Enzio Baldwin to grab a hat-trick, and he's only got sort of 3.5 minutes of the stoppage time to do it. And now here's Jack Cook for Woking. It's back with Moussa Diarra. And Diarra gives it back towards Ben Gehring. Gehring down the line to Shelton. Shelton forced all the way back to his goalkeeper, gets the call from the defender, and Craig Ross sends one forward. It's headed back and it's actually ricocheted off Ben Turner. Rawlinson just puts his foot through it and sends it forward, and Kyle Wootton, if he touches it, will be offside. Doesn't touch it, and it's with Diarra. Diarra sends it wide towards Josh Casey as more fans leave the very tall stand that dwarfs the rest of this stadium near Mona's corner, and I imagine there'll be a few more Monas in there after tonight's working performance. Not so much Notts County. They've been superb tonight. They've had a good response. That's what Niall Ardley wanted after the 1-0 defeat to Chesterfield. Good touch though from Jamal Loza as he looks to head towards the penalty area. The ball is sent over towards Dave Tarpey, and it actually came off Mccrory in the path of Tarpey, and he's actually sent a good ball in towards the penalty area, and Ben Turner just says, have some of that, I'm going to send this one right out of the stadium and waste a couple more seconds. And in fact, the ball sort of landed on the roof just above us in the end, Stout, so
he's had to do it on a number of occasions in this second half. Ben Turner just defend. You know, you like to see the game's changed. Obviously, defenders now have to be proficient on the ball. Sometimes defenders just have to defend first, and that's what Ben Turner, Rawlinson, and the rest of that Notts defend have done tonight on occasions. Done it really well.
Yeah, they really have done, and Mitch Rose trying to squeeze his way through the back line of Woking. But at the moment he couldn't find a way through on this occasion. The ball is with Diarra. We've got about 90 seconds to go of this game, where Notts have been resilient and they've been very, very good going forward as well, really putting work into the sword, which is exactly what Niall Ardley wanted. He wanted, in fact he said ahead of tonight's game that even if they get a point tonight, it will be a very good point, but he'll have certainly got more than he anticipated going into this game. He's got 3 points, 4 goals and a clean sheet as well, so that'll go nicely as Notts host Hartlepool next Saturday. That'll be live also on BBC Radio Nottingham on match day, with Forest going down to Luton and Mansfield at home to Colchester. And again, it's one of those eerie moments of the game where everyone's just stunned into silence, and it's one of those, oh dear, that was a heavy challenge from Ben Turner. As the ball is whipped in towards the penalty area, picked up by Sam Slocum. There's a player down on the floor trying to get a bit more added time added on, but I don't think he'll get much, being 4-0 down. It was Jamal Loza who stayed down on the floor. He's slowly getting back to his feet as Kyle Wootton gives it back in field to Rawlinson, and Rawlinson will just give it back to Richard Brindley, and Michael Doyle, the captain, the skipper, rolling the ball back to his goalkeeper. We've got 15 seconds to go of this football match, and it's just sent forward down the left-hand side, booted away by Ben Gehring, and it's very much a case of keeping the ball out of the Notts County net for the last couple of minutes. See out this game, and Notts have seen it out. The referee blows his full-time whistle, and Notts have won this game by 4 goals to 0. A wonderful performance from Niall Ardley's side.